Alright, so maybe the last video I didn't feel as invested as I should have. But I did want to talk about that. And now I've got something else I want to talk about, which I should be a little bit more invested in. Oh boy. MetaGearSurvive. Just saying that name has probably caused a few of you to be like, oh god, it's not really a Metal Gear game. It's not Metal Gear Solid. It's got nothing to do with the franchise. And I'd probably agree with you. But when it comes down to it, what do I think of Metal Gear Survive? And a lot of you might be thinking, well, Brett, surely you've got to hate it, right? Everyone else hates it. I mean, come on. It's only natural, right? I don't know. I'm going to go over a little bit of information real quick that some of you might not be privy to. When it comes down to it, I'm not a fan of Kojima. I know, it's crazy, right? I don't like the Metal Gear Solid series. Now, let me stop you there. If you're a fanboy and you don't know me, that doesn't mean I don't know anything about Metal Gear Solid. I have Twin Snakes for the GameCube, and I've got the Legacy Collection for PS3. And as soon as the new version of MGS5 comes out that hopefully has all the content and has the fucking Ground Zeroes package with it, as soon as that comes out, I'll buy that one too and play through it real good on PS4. But when I say I don't like Metal Gear Solid, people always have this really dumb knee-jerk reaction. And there's two reactions I've gotten. Two. Number one, the reaction is, well, you don't know anything about the MGS series. Actually, I know everything about the MGS series. I played every single fucking one of them, alright? I've played them all. I have them. Almost all of them, except for MGS5. I don't own that one yet. The other knee-jerk reaction I get is, well, I guess you just hate story. No, I like story. I just don't like really pretentious, pseudo-political, pseudo-stealth, boring bullshit that drags me out of gameplay for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Kojima, he is a guy that settled on video games. He wanted to do movies. Let's see, what can I throw at Kiki real quick? Kiki! It annoys the piss out of me when I'm trying to talk about something and she's eating. Jesus Christ, you've got 23 other hours in the day. Fuck off. Anywho, Kojima is a guy who settled on video games. What he really wanted to do was be a filmmaker, but he settled for video games. And I think that's a big problem with Kojima, is that most of the time he really wants you to get his story at the cost of decent gameplay. I remember one time I asked him, I was like, have you played Metal Gear Solid 4? And he's like, yeah, it took me like 2 hours to beat it. I'm like, how in the fuck did it take you 2 hours to beat it? And he's like, you just skip every single cutscene. I had never thought about that concept. And I think, I'm not sure, I can't remember, I think in older games you couldn't skip. But now in a generation where you can just skip cutscenes, it's like, yeah, there's not a lot of meat on the bones of his video games. I don't like Kojima. I don't like the Metal Gear Solid franchise. If you had to ask me, well, Brett, is there anything you like that Kojima did do? And yeah, Zone of the Enders was fucking awesome, but we'll never get a Zone of the Enders 3. Hell, we might get a Met game from Kojima down the line, but it's not going to be Zone of the Enders 3. And that's okay. I care more about what is in a game than the name that's on the box. But let's be honest, Zone of the Enders 3 would be awesome. But why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this to give you some sort of an idea of what it is I value when it comes down to games. I don't care about whether or not Kojima's name is on the box. I don't care whether or not it says Metal Gear, Solid, Rising, whatever. If it's fun, I'll play it. In fact, I enjoyed Rising a hell of a lot more than any Solid game. Mostly because Rising knew what it was. It was a hack and slash game first and foremost. Whereas Solid tries desperately to be stealth and they fuck it up. Any stealth game that gives you routine breaks to shoot rockets at Gundams is not a good stealth game, in my opinion. If you want good stealth, you can try Thief, Hitman, or Splinter Cell. But I don't like his games because they're pretentious, they're overbloated, and in my opinion, they're not very good. And if that bothers you, I'm sorry. It's called an opinion. Get over it. I don't like Kojima exactly because, I mean, I've heard numerous things about, you know, how he is when it comes down to designing these games and how ridiculous his writing style is, and it shows in the games. It really does. I mean, for fuck's sake. I think that Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes is probably one of the best remasters that we had before remasters was a thing. It's really, really good in terms of how much it improved upon the original Metal Gear Solid formula, but you can also see how fucking batshit insane Kojima is. I mean, Jesus Christ! I'm pretty sure if he could if he could have gotten Snake riding on a rocket during that Hindy section like Dante does in fucking Devil May Cry 3, he would have, because he's a little bit ridiculous, and that's okay. I like for my developers to be a little bit out there, but Kojima is just a little bit too ridiculous. Anywho, I say all of this to brace you for what I'm about to say. When I say that Metal Gear Solid, or I keep calling it Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Survive, I brace you for this because I think Metal Gear Survive looks interesting. I want to play that. And I know a lot of you are like, oh god, dislike, horrible. Hear me out, motherfuckers. Alright, think about this for a second. Metal Gear Solid 5 was a wet hot mess, and that is compared to the rest of Kojima's repertoire. Metal Gear Solid 5 was developed under lots of stress, lots of internal turmoil, and it's just not a very good game. I would say that technically, graphically, it's sound. I mean, it plays fine, it looks fine, that's okay. But it was developed in a bad time. Jump cut. Metal Gear Solid 5 has a lot of what I would call battle wounds from the crazy shit that was going on at Konami at the time. It's shoddily put together, if you ask me. It's got a lot of ideas that were never met. It's even got a chapter that was never put in. And that's a problem. People that give this game 9 out of 10 are fucking idiots. I would say that Metal Gear Solid 5 is at least a 6, because it's got so many other issues in it. But the thing that bothers me the most is people act like Kojima is the end-all be-all of gaming, and they act like the game can't flourish without him. And don't get me wrong, I've done that too. I hate that Bungie is no longer in charge of Halo, and if they were in charge of Halo, it'd probably be of a better pedigree as it is now. But let me be real honest, Halo 4 and 5 function. They fucking play fine. There's nothing wrong with them. From a story standpoint, they are downhill. But from a gameplay standpoint, they're fine. They're fine. And I understand Konami's hesitation to bring out a next true Metal Gear. They're testing the waters with this. This is the first post-Kojima Metal Gear game that's going to be coming out, and they have to test the waters. So I can see them taking what is already a completed game in Metal Gear Solid 5, taking the mechanics, taking the graphics, and just doing what appears to me to be a zombie shooter. And let me say, I hate the MGS series because it's fucking boring and banal and ooh, political drama. But I love zombies. I think they're fucking awesome. I think just about anything can be improved with zombies. I mean, if you look at the track record in gaming lately of games that just throw zombies in, you got the Call of Duty franchise, you got Red Dead Redemption, you got Sniper Elite, just throw zombies in. And you know what happens? It's instantly fun. I get it, if you don't like zombies, that's a problem, but I'm not the only one buying these fucking video games. So, my idea is, take a game like Metal Gear Solid 5, strip it of all its bullshit, give us a new hub area, give us, hopefully, character creation. That's the one thing I liked about MGS5. I was like, oh, I get to make my own character. No, I'm playing as fucking fake Big Boss. Yay. Let me make my own character. Let me pick my own kind of weaponry. Drop me into a world with 3 of my friends, and let me shoot fucking zombie monsters. That's interesting to me. If you don't find that interesting, that's okay. But I think it looks fucking cool. And I understand people are like, fuck Konami. Hey, don't get me wrong, I like a little bit of fuck Konami just as much as anybody else. But when it comes down to it, if it looks interesting, I'm going to buy it. I say this because I'm not the kind of guy who completely abandons somebody at their first fuck up. I give you at least 3 strikes. And yes, I know people are like, but the pachinko machines. I don't live in Japan. That doesn't fucking affect me. As far as I'm concerned, the franchise of Silent Hill has just ended. I don't care about the pachinko machines. It's offensive, yes, but I live in America. It doesn't affect me. Alright? Well, what about Castlevania? Yeah, that franchise is pretty much ended too. And I know people are like, well, wouldn't Metal Gear be the third strike? No, because I don't fucking like Metal Gear, so it doesn't bother me. I will say this, though. I don't like Kojima, but when Death Stranding comes out, I'll buy that day one just cause. Just cause. I like to stir the shit. But, you know, I don't completely abandon somebody. It looks interesting. It looks interesting. The people I have completely abandoned, like Gearbox, I'll not buy anything from Gearbox anymore because Randy Pitchford is a lying piece of shit. And he ruined 2 good franchises with his horse shit fucking franchise of Borderlands. Borderlands. We've got stylized graphics. Your graphics are shit and everyone knows it. I won't be buying Mass Effect Andromeda, at least not new. I'll buy it used and cheap, preferably, because I don't give a fuck what EA did. You allowed them to ruin a great, stellar franchise with a shit cookie-cutter red, blue, or green ending. Fuck that with BioWare. They did redeem themselves with Dragon Age Origins, though. I mean, not Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Inquisition. I like Origins, though. Origin is good. Metal Gear Survive looks interesting to me. I think about the bullshit in the rest of the Metal Gear Solid 5, and I just think that adding zombies and adding co-op would be a good idea. Let's do one more jump. I've said it before, adding co-op can make just about anything better. So with Metal Gear Survive, they're adding co-op and they're adding zombies. I think that's cool. And I know everybody has been like looking at the trailer and thinking, could that be a Metal Gear? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to pretend it's not a Metal Gear, though. It'd be cool if it was some alternate reality zombie Metal Gear monster hybrid. That'd be neat. But, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I just imagine it's going to be some big monster. Maybe it's going to be something that resembles a Metal Gear, but it's going to be organic. That would be cool. Or crystallized or whatever. But I don't know if it's going to be exactly a Metal Gear. It would make sense for it to be a Metal Gear because, of course, the series is called Metal Gear, and it would be weird not to have a Metal Gear in a Metal Gear game. But I don't know what it is. But I know that the trailer intrigued me. The combat in this series has gotten better and better over time, and it seems like Metal Gear Solid 5 was one of the first games to finally understand what the fuck third-person shooting is. I mean, that's another big issue I have with Kojima, is his gameplay is archaic as fuck. Anybody realize that? I mean, we had Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on the PS2 next to games like Killzone and fucking Kill Switch, and I'm trying to think of any other names with kill in them. We had those 2 games in a time when we had shooting and both first and third person really becoming very prevalent, and the gameplay designs in those are fucking archaic, but I get it. It's because it's a Japanese developed game. I mean, it's the same thing with fucking Resident Evil and their archaic bullshit. They finally understood what third person shooting was by the time they got to Resident Evil 6, and everybody got butthurt about it, and now they're fucking it up with Resident Evil 7. I should talk about Resident Evil 7 some more. Anywho, when it comes down to it, Metal Gear Survive looks interesting to me. I like the idea of taking what is now competent shooting, adding co-op, and adding zombies. I don't know what the extent of this game would be. I've heard different people say that it's going to be some sort of download-only game. I doubt that. It'll probably be a full release. And I don't know if there'll be a story. I hope there's a story. If the story is something as generic as just, oh, we gotta find our way back home and get back to Big Boss, then that's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. But I like the idea of this game being so far uprooted from the norm of the Metal Gear franchise, because I think the entire franchise is in need of some uprooting. I mean, that's why I liked Rising. Rising was so fucking different and so fucking good. It didn't have, like, fucking hour-long cutscenes that bored me to tears. There's nothing worse than playing a video game and your controller going to sleep because it thinks you're done playing because you're sitting there watching a fucking cutscene. I don't play games to watch movies. I play games to play games. So if you're mad at me because I don't like the MGS franchise, get the fuck over it. I like to play games. I don't like to watch movies. And I think a zombie shooter with co-op is a lot better than the banal, boring bullshit that we've had in the rest of the MGS franchise. Sue me, fanboys. Sue me. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think. Are you looking forward to Metal Gear Survive? Are you looking forward to Metal Gear Solid 6? Because that's going to be funny as hell is what that's going to be. Oh, they should totally... Oh, man. They should stop going into the past and give us something that's set after Metal Gear Solid 4. Snake's dead, and you're playing as a new protagonist with like cybernetic nanomachine sun bullshit. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. But the Metal Gear franchise is not something I enjoy. I do have them, and I have played them. I don't like them. And I think Metal Gear Survive looks fun. If you don't think it looks fun, that's cool, but I think it looks fun. So tell me what you think. If you like the video, like it. If you hate me, go ahead and dislike. Of course, you've already done that, let's be honest. You disliked it and then left. You didn't watch the whole video. But yeah, tell me what you think. And I really should talk about Resident Evil 7 some more.